All right, good morning, everybody. If you're here for the high-hanging fruit webinar, you are in the right place. So just want to make sure you know that you're in the right place if you're here for the high-hanging fruit webinar. So excellent, we're very excited. My name is Mitch Broderick, so I'll just introduce myself really quick. I'm Mitch Broderick. I'm the one that's been emailing you or texting you if you've been getting a text message from me this morning. But I'm the one who's kind of been pestering you with all the details of today's webinar coming up. And basically what I'm going to do here is just for a couple seconds, just kind of introduce the webinar and introduce Tim Shermack here. Tim Shermack's the author of the High Hanging Fruit book, and everybody who's on the webinar is going to get a free copy of the book. And so obviously we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But Tim Shermack is the author of the High Hanging Fruit book, and kind of how I got involved with the high hanging fruit process or with the platform process is I actually used to sell real estate. I was a full-time agent for a little over, well, maybe 3 or 4 years some time back, and needed, a marketing system, something that was working because other systems just weren't working for me. I didn't want like just a lead buying system. I didn't want to like be spending money on just getting leads. I really wanted something that was marketing. And so after malinvestment into several other systems, I got hooked up with Tim through a friend of mine, and we were able to really create, well, he already had this high hanging fruit system, but we were able to really create something awesome for my real estate business. And so there are other things that call us, but beyond that, the high-hanging fruit system is like the best marketing strategy, a full like marketing strategy for one's real estate business that I've come across yet. So if somebody wants to build up their brand as the go-to agent or the authority agent within their market, that's exactly what this high-hanging fruit system does, as well as generate leads and continue to retarget these leads that are generated. And so we're going to get into those details here in a moment. But I also wanted to spend a moment and introduce Tim Shermack, who is the author of the High Hanging Fruit book. And again, everybody who's on the webinar is going to get a free copy. So if you're just joining the webinar, I just want to make sure that you know you will get a free copy as a result of joining the webinar. And we'll talk about that here in a bit. But Tim Shermack is the CEO of Platform, and he's also the author of the High Hanging Fruit book that we're going to talk about. And really for the better part of a decade, Tim has been doing marketing for small business owners. And his real bread and butter is helping realtors create a marketing strategy and implement a marketing strategy that frankly is helping our clients to double, triple, and quadruple their GCI. Over the course of my involvement here at Platform, which has been about 1.5 years, I've watched clients come in. As brand new agents, and now they have, a completely full pipeline. They're getting a listing a week from their platform leads or from their high hanging fruit leads, and how they're implementing this. And so it may be something that works very well for you. So one last thing before we go is that this is a live webinar. So up on the right side of your screen, there should be an area if you've created a YouTube account where you can kind of follow along and chat. But this is a live webinar. It is May 29th. It's Monday. Yesterday was Memorial Day. There was a tropical storm that was hitting the panhandle of Florida and Alabama yesterday for Memorial Day. So this is 100% a live webinar, just so you all know. I know sometimes people say they're live and they're actually recorded. This is actually live. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Tim Shermack here in just a moment. And then I'm going to kind of fall back and be in the background answering some of your text messages, answering the chats on the screen, answering emails or whatever, just to make sure that this runs smoothly. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim, and we're going to get going.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Mitch. As Mitch said, I'm Tim Shermack. I'm the CEO of Platform Marketing, as well as the author of High Hanging Fruit. And just to reiterate what Mitch said, if you're just hopping on here, I know that we've had like a bunch of people join us literally in the last like 30 seconds. Just to remind everyone, if you're on this webinar this morning, you are going to get a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit. And so guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to hop into screen share. And what I'm going to be teaching you this morning is basically the marketing strategies from the book, High Hanging Fruit, that we'll send you for free. But we're going to go over some of the specific marketing strategies and lead gen strategies from the book. Really, most of what we do here at Platform revolves around lead generation and branding for local realtors. Because I've noticed a lot of marketing systems do one of those things great, but not the other. And so we really focus with this high hanging fruit system on trying to generate leads for realtors, but also positioning them with kind of a unique local brand. This is a live webinar. So as Mitch said, yesterday was Memorial Day. I know that the Warriors beat the Rockets the other night. So the NBA Finals for like the 20th year in a row is going to be the Warriors versus the Cavs again. And so the only reason I say that is because I do want everyone here to know that this is a live webinar. It's kind of a fad, unfortunately, today with webinars where you kind of get lied to, where you're told that this is a live webinar, but it's actually a recording. And so I just want to be very, very clear that we're investing our time this morning as you are, and this is live. It's not a recording. And so we really want to respect your time, and this is a live webinar. So let me dive in right away to what the substance is of high hanging fruit, because if there's anything that I hate and you probably hate, it's when you hop on a webinar and the first half hour is just total fluff, right? So let's dive right into what is high hanging fruit. So the title of my book, high hanging fruit, what I mean by that is that we want to build a lead generation system that generates leads at the top of the sales cycle. So what I call high hanging fruit. So all things being equal, it sounds kind of contrarian, but I would actually rather generate leads that are maybe 2 or 3 months away. Maybe they're even 4 months away from actually being ready to buy or sell. I'd rather generate those leads, that are 4 or 5 months away than leads that are ready to go right now. Because the leads that are ready to go right now, the low hanging fruit, like the typical lead from realtor.com or Zillow or something, where they're basically calling to set up a showing, or they're calling, more or less to have you over for a listing appointment, right? And it's like business that's pretty much ready to go right now, right? That's what we call low hanging fruit. And that sounds great. But the problem is that's where all the competition is, right? All the competition is targeting low hanging fruit because it sounds like the easiest business to get. So almost paradoxically, it's not the easiest business to get because that's where all the other realtors are. That's where all the competition is. And so I would actually rather have a lead who's maybe 3 months out, or maybe even 4 months out. So right now it's like the very end of May. It is the 29th of May today, like 2018. And so I want the leads that maybe aren't ready to go until like, July, August, or maybe even September. Like they're not ready to list their house until September. They're not ready to, get pre-approved and buy a house until, mid-August, because those are the leads where there's not a lot of competition for those. There's not a lot of competition for those. Most agents, will cold call FSBOs and expired listings and, really hitting up their friends and family and sphere to try to get referrals, but they don't really pay a ton of attention to leads that aren't ready to go for another 3 or 4 months, because that requires work following up and staying in touch and all that. So again, high hanging fruit is this marketing philosophy where I would actually rather generate leads that are higher up in the sales cycle because there's less competition there. So what that means from a marketing perspective is you spend less money on ads and generate more leads, because all of online marketing is governed by an implicit auction system. The algorithm on Google pay-per-click or the algorithm for Facebook ads, it's all driven by basically like a digital auction system for those impressions, right? And so if there's fewer people bidding on those impressions, it means the cost per click is cheaper. So there's a mathematical reason we do this too, is that you can get way more leads for less money if you target high hanging fruit. So it's much easier to scale your business when the leads come in cheaply like that. And again, there's less competition. And so because of that, you're going to get really cheap leads, and those leads will convert at a higher percentage because you're probably the only realtor they're talking to, right? So that's a very quick summary of high hanging fruit. And what we're going to do in this webinar is we're going to teach you some of the specific ads and strategies using this high hanging fruit philosophy so that you can generate leads and grow your business. Again, everyone is going to get a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit. So please hang around until the end of the webinar. I'll show you how to get that book for free. But what we're doing in the webinar is I'll teach you some of the specific, even the specific Facebook ads actually that we're using to generate these leads. And so this text you see here on the screen, this is from like one of our clients. You can see like, yeah, they got like a listing lead, and it's going to be a couple other transactions too. And so, that's all great. But the point I want you to focus on is at the end where it says my pipeline is full. That's what high hanging fruit is all about. My pipeline is full. Because what we're trying to do is build a pipeline for you. Most agents don't have the courage, frankly, to invest in a marketing system that, converts a bunch of leads that are 2 or maybe even like 3 months down the road, right? They want business now, right? They want business now. And so if we build that pipeline, though, that's a huge asset that other agents can't really compete with. And so high hanging fruit is all about building that pipeline so you always have a steady stream of leads that are going to be, closing a month from now, 2 months from now, like 3 months from now. So you never have to worry about where your next closing is going to come from. I always make this clear too, if I'm doing like a consulting day with a brokerage, that high hanging fruit really isn't a tactic, but it's also not even a strategy, because I consider tactics to be like the specific things you implement, and the strategy is the overall way that you're trying to, get business. So strategy is at a bigger picture level than tactics, but even at a bigger picture level than strategy is your philosophy. And I think high hanging fruit is really a philosophy. It's not just a tactic or a strategy. It's really a new way of thinking about marketing, where we're less focused on getting immediate conversions as more as we are about building your database, getting more referrals. Yes, we're going to generate a ton of leads, but a lot of those leads are going to be, 2 months out or 3 months out before they're ready to act. And so when you kind of shift your perspective that, you just want your marketing to generate a ton of leads, and then of course you'll follow up with those leads. But if you can generate hundreds of leads a month, even with very low conversion percentages, you could still add an extra 2 or 3 closings every month to your business, because there's just not a lot of competition for high hanging fruit style leads. And so I primarily right now, in 2018, I like using Facebook ads to do that, because the cost per click and cost per lead is so cheap. And we'll get to the specifics on that in this webinar. But I like Facebook ads, but high hanging fruit does not depend on using Facebook ads. If some new social network pops up a year from now and everyone quits using Facebook, that's totally fine. We could use that too. We've even seen some clients use this high hanging fruit idea with direct mail or with live in-person events. And so it really isn't a tactic or a strategy. It's a philosophy. So high hanging fruit is a new way of thinking about your business and your marketing strategy. One other thing we're going to do in this training this morning is I'm going to show you some videos of agents around the country that are actually using this strategy right now. So I don't want you to think that this is just a bunch of theory, like it's just an idea that we had. There's agents all across the country in big cities, small towns, suburbs, farm towns, everything in between that are just crushing it with this strategy. So here's a quick video of a realtor in rural Tennessee. And when I say quick video, I mean quick. It's like a 20-second video. But this is her saying all the results she got when she implemented this high-hanging fruit idea in her business. And how many buyers and listings she got from it is almost hard to believe, which is why I asked her to film a video. Because if I just told you how many buyers and listings that she's got from it by standing out in her market with this like unique style of marketing, if I just told you, you probably wouldn't believe me, because it sounds almost kind of too good to be true. So I'm going to show you this quick video, but this is the power of high hanging fruit. And this video was filmed, by the way, like last November. So like in the dead of winter, in what usually is the slow kind of holiday season. Imagine how well it would work if you got started right now in May, which is like peak buying and selling season.
Hi, this is Michelle Jones from Tennessee. I joined the platform webinar. I signed up, and my results for the first 10 days are that the 2 new listings ads that I ran with platform, I got both under contract in the same day. I also have 5 active buyers that I'm currently working with now, and I also have obtained 3 new listings.
Awesome. So she's gotten like 3 listings, 5 buyers that are already out, like, you know, looking. I mean, again, it sounds too good to be true, which is why I wanted to show you that video. And she filmed that video last winter. And so it's not even, you know, it wasn't even peak buying, selling season for her. So, you know, imagine like how big of a year she's going to have this year, you know, being we're actually into spring now. So what we're going to go over here in the next hour is we're going to further develop and talk about what high hanging fruit means and how you can specifically apply it to your market. So this webinar is not a bunch of fluff. We're not just talking about theory. We're going to dive into specific examples of Facebook ads that are working right now. I'll tell you how to target them, what the headline should say. I'll tell you exactly what the Facebook ad should say in the copy. So we're going to get very, very practical so you guys can actually take action on this. And then, of course, everyone who joins us and stays to the end is going to get a free copy of the book. And so you'll probably notice in the bottom right corner there, it says platform and has our logo. So just to explain that, why you keep seeing that platform logo there. Again, I'm Tim Shermack. I'm the author of the book High Hanging Fruit, but I'm also the CEO of Platform. So Platform is the company that I started. It's a marketing agency specifically for realtors. And so if you want to hire us, that's what we do. And so you might hear me say, like, you know, the platform strategy or the high hanging fruit strategy. Those terms mean the same thing, right? So if I say the platform strategy or high hanging fruit strategy, those terms are interchangeable, and I'm essentially talking about the same thing. And so for the purposes of this webinar, that's just, you know, that's what platform means. That's why you see our logo in the bottom corner of all the slides. One other bonus that actually that we're going to give you on this webinar, in addition to getting a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, we're going to offer you a trial month of Platform if you're interested. So at the end, I'll talk more about that. But if you want us to just manage everything for you and set up all your Facebook ads and get you, you know, those hundreds of leads every month and build the retargeting, retargeting ads and send up, you know, follow-up emails and text messages and basically build your marketing campaigns and help you convert the leads. If you don't want to do that, you want us to do all that for you, we're going to offer you a trial month where we'll set up all that for you in a trial month. So I'll talk more about that at the end. But if you're interested in Platform, just hang around to the end, because we will be offering a trial month for people who are interested. In addition to, everyone is going to get a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit. And so I'm really stoked about this, because I've worked with so many agents that have taken this training that have actually doubled their GCI. In some instances, they've even tripled their GCI. And we've had it happen a couple times. It's not very common, but we have had it happen a couple times where someone even quadrupled their income just because of the raw amount of leads, like the volume of leads that can come in. And it's not just crap leads either. Like, you have a higher conversion rate because you're not competing with other agents with these leads, you know. So if you set up the ads right the way we'll teach you to, it's not like Zillow, you know, where you get a lead, but you have to call them immediately because they're probably getting phone calls from like 10 other agents, right, who also got access to that lead. With Platform, you don't have that problem, because these people are 2, 3, you know, sometimes even 4 months out. And so you'll actually convert a much higher percentage of your business. And so here's a quick video of Jonathan Garrick. He had read the book, like The One Thing, you know, by Gary Keller, or The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, you know, and those are kind of like the Bibles for real estate agents, right? Like, pretty much every agent has read those books, and for good reason, because they are really solid, like, good books. But what Jonathan realized is that he had read those books and he was taking action on everything and trying to implement, but those books are really more about business planning and creating a vision of where you want your real estate business to go. And he didn't really know what the immediate next step, like the practical step, was. You know, how would he generate enough leads to actually realistically achieve those goals, right? And High Hanging Fruit was kind of that, that was the missing link for him. When he read the book High Hanging Fruit, that gave him these specific marketing ideas that he would need to generate the number of leads that would be necessary to hit his goals, right? Because if you have a big audacious goal for this year, let's say you closed 20 homes last year and this year you want to do 40, like you want to double your business, right? Like, it's not enough just to have a goal written down. Like, you actually have to change something about what you're doing to achieve that goal, right? Like, if you want to double your business, you have to actually generate the number of leads on a daily basis that would be necessary to hit that goal. It's not enough just to have a goal, right? You can get all rah-rah at a motivational seminar, or you can read a really inspiring book. But at the end of the day, if you're not actually generating enough leads to hit your goal, it's just motivational fluff, right? So he read the book High Hanging Fruit, and he kind of learned, I guess, the specific marketing tactics that would take his business to the next level. So for him, after reading the Gary Keller books, this was kind of that next step. It was the missing link that allowed him to take his business to the next level.
It's Jonathan Garrick, real estate agent in Southwest Florida with Keller Williams Realty, and I'm here today to talk to you about the book High Hanging Fruit and the Platform System. And if you've ever read any of the books by Gary Keller, The One Thing or The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, they give you the real big picture thinking on how to come up with a business plan and to grow your real estate business. This is the rocket fuel to that system, to actually how to market your business and yourself effectively. So definitely, if you're interested in this book, pick up a copy, and also contact Platform. It was one of the best business decisions I've ever made.
Awesome. So again, everyone is going to get a free copy of the book, no strings attached, right? You'll get a free copy of the book. This is the last video I want to show you quick. This is just a 20-second video, but here's an example of one of our clients in Colorado Springs, actually, who didn't just double his GCI, didn't just triple his GCI. He actually quadrupled his GCI. This is Jose Medina. He's in Colorado.
Hey guys, if you're still skeptical about high-hanging fruit, let's just break down the numbers real quick. In 2013, I did 25 deals. I then implemented high-hanging fruit platforms so that you know. In 2014, I went from 25 to 50 deals. In 2015, I went from 50 deals to 70 deals, baby. And now in 2016, I'm making over 100 transactions so that you know. And now that I have my team in place in 2016, just imagine what I'm going to do in 2017. Make it a phenomenal day.
And so Jose now consistently does over 100 transactions a year. And what you need to know about that is he does not have a big team. So this is not one of those situations where, yeah, he grew to over 100 transactions, but it's because he has a team of 10 people or, you know, like 15 agents or something like that. He's doing 100 transactions with him, one buyer's agent, and a full-time administrative assistant. And so it's just a team of basically 3 people, and they're doing over 100 transactions a year. His average price point out there is about $250,000, $300,000. And so he's making very good money because 100 transactions, again, is not being like split up amongst 10 people. It's just him and 2 other people doing over 100 transactions. And so I show you this video because I want to kind of like start rewiring your brain to be aware of what's possible in your business if you really take this idea seriously of high-hanging fruit. Because this isn't a strategy that grows your business, you know, by 10% or 20%. This can literally double your business or, you know, triple your business even. And so please grab a pen and paper, take notes. I do talk fast. Normally, guys, what I'm doing is I'll teach like a consulting day to a brokerage, you know, or maybe a top performing team. And it's like an 8-hour consulting day. What I'm attempting to do in this free webinar this morning is basically fly through 8 hours worth of consulting in about an hour. And so I talk really fast. There's a lot of, you know, concepts and ideas I want to cover. And so please grab a pen and paper and take notes if you have access, you know, to a notepad or something. So really, really quickly about me, I won't spend a bunch of time on this. The first book I wrote wasn't high-hanging fruit. It was actually Main Street Marketing. Main Street Marketing was not written specifically for realtors. It was kind of just for any small business owner, right? So Main Street Marketing was written for, you know, a local dentist or a coffee shop or a restaurant or a CrossFit gym, you know, like your typical brick and mortar small business owners. But what happened was when I published this book, a bunch of real estate agents read it and they started kind of implementing the lead generation ideas for their business, you know, to get buyer and seller leads. And they were really, really successful. And a bunch of them contacted me just telling me the results they were getting. And I was really impressed. And so eventually some of them hired me as kind of a more deeper consultant to help them dial in those campaigns and get even more leads. And then things really, really blew up. And I became aware of how powerful these ideas were, not just for, you know, average small business owners, just everyone, but like specifically applied to the real estate industry. If you were a realtor and you applied these ideas, I mean, again, agents were doubling their business, tripling their business. And so we kind of realized, hey, we're onto something here. And so In what I learned in working with the first handful of consulting clients, where I really kind of developed and built their marketing plans from the ground up, that's what gave me the fuel and the ideas and the case studies to write this book, High Hanging Fruit. So High Hanging Fruit is a legit 200-page book. It's not like an ebook download that's only like 25 pages long, so it's not a pamphlet or a brochure. It's a legit 200-page book written specifically for real estate agents. And so in that book, we go deep and we describe the strategies and the tactics of, what worked 5 years ago or 10 years ago in real estate marketing, but more importantly, what's going to work in the next 5 to 10 years because of how the market is shifting. And then, of course, we get into practical stuff too, like the specific ads you should be running and all that. So to my knowledge, this might be one of the only marketing books written for realtors. There's a lot of like business planning books written for realtors. There's a lot of, I've seen time management books written for realtors, sales books written for realtors, but there's not a lot of marketing books written for realtors that I'm aware of. And so again, everyone on the webinar is going to get that book for free. Just hang on to the end and we'll tell you how to get that free book, as well as at the end, again, if you're interested, we'll give everyone a trial month of platform if you want us to manage all your ads for you. So the first thing I do in a consulting day, let's dive in here, is I get really, really clear, like with a broker or with a team leader on the two variables that move your business forward. Because it really just comes down to honestly two things. It's getting clear on, as of right now, even before we start doing consulting together, right? Or someone hires platform. Before that happens, we kind of want to create a baseline of where are you investing your time and where are you investing your money? So those are the two variables that move your business forward, where you're investing your time and where you invest your money. Because a lot of people get like hung up on their marketing budget and they're only looking at where they're investing their money, right? They think, oh, to grow my business, I just need to, spend more money on the credit card, sending out more direct mail or buying more leads from Google or buying more leads from Boomtown or Commissions Inc. or Zillow or Realtor.com or wherever you're getting your lead flow from, right? And that's only looking at one side of the equation. Because before we generate a ton of leads and we grow your business, we need to have systems in place so you can actually handle all those leads. Because I keep saying that, a lot of our platform clients get 200 leads a month, right? And that sounds great. That sounds impressive. But unless you build the system so that you can effectively handle 200 leads a month, you're just going to waste a bunch of money on leads because you won't have a system for following up and converting them. So that would just be a waste of money. So the first thing I do is get clear on where are you investing your time and where are you investing your money. Most agents invest their time to generate leads and they invest their money, buying leads. I want you to do the opposite actually of what most agents do. So if you imagine the typical sales funnel or the marketing funnel in your head, right? Like the actual funnel where it's kind of like an upside down looking on like a triangle, right? Where it's wide at the top and it gets more narrow as it gets to the bottom. So imagine that marketing cycle or the marketing funnel, right? Where it's wide at the top and gets narrow as it goes to the bottom, basically an upside down triangle, right? If you imagine that at the very top of the funnel, what most agents do to kind of like lead generate and create opportunities is they invest their time, right? Cold calling expired listings, cold calling for sale by owners, calling their sphere to check in and ask for referrals. They sit at open houses on the weekends, right? They take phone calls at the office. They get sign calls from, listings they might have, right? So they might do client appreciation dinners, or they sponsor their like little league team, or they volunteer at their church, or they volunteer in the community just to kind of get their name out there, right? So how a lot of agents generate leads is they invest their time. Not necessarily money, but they invest their time to generate leads and opportunities. And that's because that's what they were taught from day one, right? If you're a brand new realtor, you just got licensed, your broker is trying to teach you the basics of how to generate opportunities. And most brokers assume that, hey, you probably don't have a ton of money, to spend on marketing. Day one, you're basically indoctrinated. Oh, you just spend your time trying to create those opportunities, right? You spend your time by, hopping on the phone and just calling people. Right? But at the bottom of the funnel, most agents with whatever marketing budget they have, whether it's, $200 a month or $2,000 a month, what most agents do is they buy leads, right? They just buy leads from Zillow or from Commissions Inc. or Curator or Boomtown or Realtor.com, Homes.com, right? They buy leads. And just look at the verb buy leads. When I say I'm buying leads, I'm implying that leads are just a commodity that's bought and sold, right? But these are real people, right? We think of them as just a lead, right? Like a name, an email address, and a phone number. But these are real people, like real families that are out there looking to buy and sell houses. And so even using that verb that you're buying leads, that implies that it is low hanging fruit, right? It's basically, hey, they're already pre-approved. They're ready to like look at houses, right? Or they've already decided they're going to list their house. They're basically just looking for the right agent, but they're ready to put a sign in the yard this week, right? So when we talk about buying leads at the bottom of the funnel, that is by definition low hanging fruit, right? Because if they're at the point where all you need to do is call them and they'll list their house, or all you need to do is call them and and they'll start house hunting because they're already kind of set, like they're like maybe they're even already like pre-approved, right? That's low hanging fruit. And that sounds great in theory, right? Like that's the type of client you want. But the problem is that's where all the competition is. So if that's where all the competition is, it's actually harder to convert those leads. And so that's why we focus on high hanging fruit. I would much rather generate a lead who's maybe 90 days out from being ready to go when there's no competition to actually convert that lead. So again, most agents are investing their time to generate leads, where they'll spend 2 hours every morning, from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. They'll spend 2 hours just cold calling the most recent expired listings. They have the Mojo dialer set up and they're just blazing through hundreds of calls a day, or they'll cold call for sale by owners, or sometimes they even just call through their sphere of influence and their past clients, just trying to get referrals, right? So they spend hours a day trying to generate opportunities cold calling. That's great. The problem is that it works. Like it actually, to a certain extent, it does work just because of math, right? The law of large numbers. If you call enough people every day, eventually you'll set a listing appointment every now and then, right? And so the problem is that's not scalable. It works to maybe get you to $100,000 a year, or maybe $120,000 a year, but you run out of time. Like you literally run out of time in your day because you can't cold call for 5 hours a day, right? You actually have to leave some time in your day to actually be a real estate agent, go on showings, go on home inspections, be a real estate agent, like make offers for your clients, try to negotiate offers, go to closings, go show your clients houses. And so this strategy works to a certain point where you invest your time to generate leads, but it's not scalable. It basically is setting you up for a trap. Once you hit about 30, 35 transactions a year, you'll plateau. And so we teach agents to actually flip the funnel. So you flip the funnel, do the opposite of what most agents do. So I want to teach you on this webinar how to invest your money to generate leads at the top of the funnel so that you only have to invest your time following up with warm leads that your marketing system kind of cultivated and warmed up for you. So again, we're going to flip the funnel. We're going to do the opposite of what most agents do. We're going to invest our money at the top of the funnel, generating leads, so that we only have to invest our time following up with warm leads that our system already kind of warmed up for us. And so the cool thing about this is you can now handle much more leads because the number of leads coming in isn't dependent on you just making a bunch of cold calls. So you can actually handle a lot more leads, but now you only have to spend maybe 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day following up with those leads because you're only following up with the warmest leads, right? Your system warmed them up for you. And so you don't have to spend 2 hours every day time blocking, to generate leads. You can get away with spending as little as half hour a day following up with the warm leads that your system generated for you because they're warm leads. You're not cold calling people, right? And so in this way, yes, you can actually start generating 200 leads a month, and you're going to convert a good chunk of that 200 because the system is warming them up for you, and you're only spending your time following up with the warm leads, right? Like I can't emphasize this enough, guys, that unless you get clear on this, it doesn't matter how many leads you generate. I keep bragging about how platform can get you 200 leads a month, right? Because I'm proud of that. But let me be really, really clear. It doesn't matter if you were getting 400 leads a month or 500 leads a month. Like that doesn't matter. Leads don't necessarily translate into closings, right? Leads don't always translate into closings. You could get thousands of leads, and unless you have a system for following up and converting them, that's pointless. It's worthless, right? So you have to build this system and kind of shift these variables and create a new follow-up system before you build the platform lead gen system, or else you're just going to waste a bunch of money on leads that don't convert. And so if you set this up right, you can handle hundreds of leads a month all by yourself without even needing an ISA or an assistant or anything like that, right? So that's what we're going to talk about in this webinar. And then also we're going to get to these specific Facebook ads that are proven to generate 200 leads a month. So one thing I want to touch on too before we get into the Facebook ads is why high hanging fruit is such an advantage, especially for agents here on this webinar that maybe aren't already top producers. You know, maybe they're not making 300 grand a year. You know, maybe you just got started in the last year and like you're hoping to make 50K in GCI this year or something, right? High hanging fruit is like a miracle for you because you don't have to spend now so much money on, you know, buying a system like Commissions Inc. or Boomtown or Curator, or you don't have to spend a small fortune every month on Zillow leads or, you know, like Realtor.com leads, right? It's competitive because of the math behind this. So most of our realtors using this kind of high hanging fruit idea, they're averaging leads for like $3 a piece. So every $100 they spend on ads is bringing in over 30 leads. This is a game changer. I mean, that means if you can afford to spend even just $200 a month on generating these leads, you should be bringing in somewhere between 50 to 75 leads a month for only $200 in ads, right? So even if you only converted one lead, right, out of, let's say 60 leads, you only convert one of them, that means you got a closing for $200, right? Every $200 you spend, like you got a closing. This math works out very, very well, right? Like I know people that are spending $1,000 a month on Zillow, right? And they're only getting maybe one closing a month from it. So it's still profitable, but it's not as exciting paying $1,000 to get a closing, right? So this high hanging fruit system works again because there's less competition. And in online advertising to generate leads, if there's less competition, that means that your cost per click is going to be way cheaper. If your cost per click is cheaper, obviously the cost per lead is cheaper, and the math works out in your favor, right? So this works especially well if you don't have necessarily a huge budget to work with. The reason I'm showing you this text is because the kid who sent it to me is a kid. He's actually 19 years old. And so, you know, he started using this high hanging fruit idea. He followed up, got some leads who were already pre-approved at a pretty decent price point. And he was shocked that it worked, as you can see by his text. But we get texts like this all the time from happy agents that are using the system. But the reason that this one is cool is that this is a kid. He's 19 years old. He recently graduated high school. So he's a brand new realtor. So if a 19-year-old kid, by the way, his name is Keaton and he's an agent in Wisconsin. So if a 19-year-old kid can make this work and get results, you can too, right? So let's talk about that plateau I mentioned where most agents can get to about 30 transactions a year, but they plateau there because most agents run out of time. You know, you can build your business by hustle, right? That's how most agents do it. They just build their business by hustle, by making a bunch of phone calls, and they, like I said, they sit open houses. They basically just put in the time, right? Because they're taught from an early age in their career, you know, from basically the first week they get licensed, that hey, if you want to grow your business, you got to put in the time. You have to be willing to sit open houses on weekends. You need to cold call expireds, you know, cold call FSBOs. You need to ask your friends and family for referrals constantly. Ask your sphere of influence. Ask people you know at your kid's school or at church, you know, for referrals. You need to get your name out there and just hustle, right? And so most agents can get to about 30 transactions a year, which is a good living, right? Even in a market where maybe you don't have high-priced homes, if your average commission is say like $5,000, you know, like it's a house that's in the $200,000 price range, let's say. So typical American middle-class kind of affordable home, $200,000. If you can do 30 transactions, you're making well over $100,000 a year, right? So it's not that that's a bad living, right? But most agents hit a plateau. They predictably hit a plateau around 30 transactions a year. And I noticed this, and it just surprised me because I started doing a lot of consulting a couple years ago with agents, and it was just weird because just consistently, time and time again, agents would talk to me saying, "Hey, I'm trying to I'm trying to break through. I'm trying to get my business to the next level. I've been doing 30 transactions a year, but I want to get to 50, or I want to get to 60. Like I want to double my business." And of course, I'm not literally saying 30 transactions a year, right? It's not on the dot 30. It could be 27, it could be 33, it might be 34, 35, whatever, but right around 30 transactions a year, agents were hitting a plateau. And I had no idea why. Like, I mean, I didn't know why it kept happening here, but then it kind of dawned on me like, oh, they're literally running out of time. They're running out of hours in the day. Because if you're an agent and you did, let's say, 32 transactions last year, I don't even have to ask you. I already know that you're probably working 50 hours a week or more, right? If you did like 32 transactions last year, anywhere around 30, you're definitely not a part-time agent, right? You're not working 40 hours a week. You're probably working 50 hours a week or even 60 hours a week, right? And so there's not really any margin in your schedule to add more activities, right? So the problem is most agents got to this point with hustle, right? Just by putting in a bunch of time, right? But that won't get you to the next level because you literally don't have extra time in your schedule when you're producing at over 30 transactions a year, right? Like if you're cold calling every morning for 2 hours, you know, calling expired listings and, you know, dialing for dollars, right? If you want to double your business to 60 transactions a year, I mean, like, what are you going to do? Just start calling for 4 hours a day? Like, oh, I want to double my business. Therefore, I'm going to double my lead gen efforts, right? I'm going to start cold calling for 4 hours a day rather than 2, right? That sounds good in theory, but again, you don't have that time because you have to leave enough time in your schedule as an agent to actually go on showings, go on listing appointments, like negotiate offers, you know, attend home inspections, closings, take photographs, meet your clients, you know, talk with your lenders, blah, 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 right? You can't just, you know, time block 4 hours a day to lead generate, right? You actually have to be a realtor. So most agents get to about 30 transactions a year with hard work and hustle. But if that's what got you there, if like investing time to generate leads is what got you there, it's actually the exact thing that's going to prevent you from going to the next level because it's a constraint on your growth. You literally run out of hours in the day, right? And so we have to change what is generating our leads if we want to get beyond this plateau and get to 50 transactions a year or 60 or 70. You know, maybe you're a hardcore hustler and you're already doing 45 transactions a year. So you sort of broke through the plateau and you're on this webinar, but you know there's no way that you could grow from 45 to 65 or from 45 to 75 just by putting in more time, right? Because you're already working 60 hours a week, right? You need to build a marketing system that exists independent of you, where the leads are coming in whether you lead generate or not, because that means you spend less time following up with leads and more time actually out showing homes, going on listing appointments, right? So we have to build a marketing system that isn't dependent on you, right? Where whether or not you're cold calling for 2 hours a day is totally irrelevant. So the marketing system is generating leads so you can focus on being a realtor. That's the only way that you can break through that plateau, is if you stop thinking that hustle is the only antidote, right? And you actually build a marketing system, right? Getting through that plateau, getting to 50 deals a year, 60 transactions a year, you know, or 75, whatever. It's not about hustle and sales. It's about marketing. It's specifically about lead generation. So we have to build a system that generates leads for you so that you can spend your time only following up with warm leads. That's the key point. So that you can spend your time only following up with warm leads, right? Because if you do that, you can cut down your follow-up time every day to maybe just like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And then you actually have more time in your day to follow up with those leads, work those leads, go on showings and all that. So again, I want to get really clear on this before we dive into the specific Facebook ads, because who cares if you get 200 leads a month, you know, or 300 leads a month? Who cares if you haven't actually built your day-to-day follow-up system so that you convert those leads? Here's another example. This is a 20-second video of Paul Gillespie. He's an agent up in Baltimore, and he broke through the plateau because he built a marketing system that generated leads for him. He actually works less now than he did before, because the marketing system made his just day-to-day like productivity that much more efficient.
Hey guys, Paul Gillespie team at Keller Williams Gateway. Before I met Tim and implemented the platform marketing system, I was selling about 15 houses a year. I'm 3 years into it. The second year, I sold 25. This year, I'm going to sell 60, and then next year, our goal is to sell 100. So the platform system is a real deal. I could not have scaled my business so quickly without it. Thank you.
Excellent. So, excellent. So that's Paul. This is Mitch. I'm back here. So Paul Gillespie is one of our realtor clients up in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And as Tim said, I mean, obviously those are incredible results. He's actually one of our very first clients who was, one of the guinea pigs, if you will, 4 or 5 years ago, whenever we were first building this system. So all of the ads, and we're going to get into the actual Facebook ads here in just a second that we're running and tell you all about them. All of the ads that we have now that are proven that work, he was around when we were developing them and testing them, and that's I mean, just fantastic that he's able to get those types of results, and we're able to get results like that with the ads that we're about to show you in metropolitan areas. So, like Baltimore, and in, the middle of Tennessee, in Clark Range, Tennessee, like Michelle Jones earlier in the video. I mean, it just works in a variety of different markets. And really the big thing is that it's just important that, I mean, Paul has the hustle. He has no lacking of hustle, but what really changed for him was that he had a consistent lead generation strategy. So he was consistently generating warm leads that he was also consistently branding himself to over and over again. So the big thing, it's cliche, but it's work harder and not smarter. And so that was the big difference for Paul and for Michelle Jones and for many of our other agents. You'll see that, when we're using case studies, some of them are, older case study clients who've been with us for years and years. But some of them are people who are just like you, who have joined one of our webinars. And it might have been 2 or 3 months ago, and we're using, their videos as well. And we'll try and point that out. So we're excited to dive into the actual Facebook ads that we're running for our clients. And the biggest thing is understanding we have to go through the foundational aspects of the high-hanging fruit system. So we just want to make sure that we understand that we're kind of going upstream, fishing upstream, and that is the entire intention of the high-hanging fruit system. And so understanding that this is not the system where we generate a lead that's going to call you right now, where you just buy a lead that calls you right now and you're off. If they want to look at a house tonight, then you better have your evening free and go and look at a house with them. We're trying to create a system where you are having warm leads that you can control the relationship with and schedule things and, build actual rapport. And most of you want to have primarily relationship businesses. And I think that, long-term, that's the best type of business. So anyway, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in, but I'll turn it back over to Tim here. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. So getting your business to that next level, I just want to reiterate that it's about lead generation. It's about marketing. Like, we all know an agent, in our markets, let's say, who's super successful, and maybe you know them personally and they're kind of, annoying. Like, you're just annoyed that their business is so big, because maybe you're a better realtor. Like, you give better client service to people you work with, like just better service, right? Like, you answer your phone more often, you're just more available to them, you coach them more. But there's this agent in your market who seems to get all the listings, so their business is so big and you don't know why, right? This is why. This slide you're looking at right now is why, right? Most agents are actually pretty good at negotiating, and they're pretty good at sales. They're persuasive people, and that's how you get into the business. That's how you get to about 20, 25, like 30 transactions a year. right? But the difference between an agent who's doing 75 closings a year and an agent doing 25, it's not that the agent doing 75 is 3 times better at being a real estate agent, right? Because they're doing like 3 times as many closings. They're not 3 times better at being a real estate agent. They're just better at marketing. That's all that it is. So realize that hustling, right, gets you to a certain point. Hustle is necessary, but not sufficient to take your business to the next level, right? Of course, you have to be willing to hustle. You have to be willing to put in the time, but it's necessary, not sufficient, right? The difference between someone doing 75 closings a year and 25 is that the person doing 75 has really learned marketing. They've built a marketing system that generates leads for them so that they don't have to rely on just making a ton of cold calls every day, right? Like I can't emphasize that enough. That is so important that we just understand this conceptually. We have to build a marketing system so that it actually frees up our time to only follow up with the warm leads versus just having a bunch of low quality leads that you spend a bunch of time following up with. Let's work smart, not hard, right? So let's talk about what I call the advertising industrial complex. This is really what governs the real estate marketing industry going back, 10 years. Like you think of all the big companies that, all the names that everyone knows, right? Boomtown, Commissions Inc., Curator, Real Geeks, YLOPO, right? And then obviously the big portal websites, you can buy leads from homes.com, realtor.com, Zillow, all those, right? Those are the big names where pretty much if you're spending your money online, there's a 99% likelihood it's at one of those companies I just mentioned, right? And leads have gotten a lot more expensive in the last couple of years. I think most people on this webinar know that, right? If you were advertising on like Google pay-per-click, let's say 5 years ago, so not a long time ago, just 5 years ago, like let's think back to like 2013, 2014, right? If you were spending $1,000 a month on Google back then, how many leads are you getting today for that same 1,000? I can almost guarantee you're getting fewer leads today for the same amount of money. Like even though we're holding it constant that you were spending $1,000 a month the whole time, you're getting fewer leads today than you were back then for that same $1,000. And that's not just on Google though, like because maybe most of you on this webinar don't know how to set up AdWords on Google. So you've just been using a company like Zillow.com. You've just been buying leads right from Zillow. If you were spending $1,000 a month on Zillow leads 5 years ago, I guarantee you that you're getting fewer leads today for the same $1,000 a month. Like you're getting fewer impressions, fewer leads. And so in just 5 years though, there's not inflation going on. So it's not like we've had that much inflation in the economy in the last 5 years where that's not an explanation, right? Maybe you can look at inflation if we're looking at a time period of like 30 years or 50 years, but this is only 5 years, right? So we can't just chalk that up to inflation. So what's going on? Why are leads so much more expensive today, than they were even just 5 years ago, right? Well, if you look at how the online advertising industry works, everything is connected, right? If you're getting your leads from Boomtown, let's say, have you ever asked yourself, where is Boomtown getting those leads? Or if you get your leads from Sync, like Commissions Inc., have you ever asked yourself, where's Commissions Inc. getting those leads from, right? Let's look at the actual supply and demand of online leads for real estate agents. If we look at the number of people that are buying houses in the United States today, that number, like the home ownership rate, or the percentage of people buying a house rather, hasn't really changed in the last 5 years. So even in 2018, if we look back to like 2013 or 2014, it's approximately the same number of people that are buying houses today as they were 5 years ago, right? So that number has actually remained pretty constant for the last 5 years. So that's constant. But what has changed in the equation isn't the supply of leads, it's the demand, right? So the supply of leads has stayed the same because basically the same amount of people are buying houses today as they were 5 years ago. What's changed is that in the last couple of years, there's kind of been like a great awakening amongst real estate agents of like, oh crap, I'm wasting a lot of money on billboards, or I'm wasting a lot of my money on direct mail farming that doesn't seem to be working, or I'm wasting a lot of my money on print newspaper ads that, I'm spending $500 a month on, or I'm spending $1,000 a month on, and I don't really know if I'm getting any phone calls from it, but they've been doing this for years and years and years. So there's just a base level of inertia where because agents have been doing it this way for even decades, right? They just keep doing it. But in the last couple of years, that's changed. In the last couple of years, agents have finally started to wake up and realize, like, oh, most of the eyeballs now are online. People are searching for homes online. And so you should probably spend your advertising budget where people are, right? Like if people just culturally as a society, if we're not really reading the newspaper as much as we were 10, 20 years ago, it probably doesn't make a ton of sense to advertise in your local newspaper, right? Go where people are. And right now, people are on Facebook. You know, people are going on Google and they're researching there, right? So it's probably where you should be advertising. So in the last couple of years, there's been just an explosion of, you know, of advertising dollars that have flown into online marketing. So agents are basically shifting their ads budgets in the last couple of years, pulling it away from offline into online. And so with all these ad dollars now, you know, trying to buy leads on Google or trying to buy leads on Facebook, it's just basic supply and demand, right? If the same number of people are searching for homes online today as they were 5 years ago. So that's the supply has stayed the same, right? It's a basic equation we learn about in like junior high, right? Supply and demand, right? If the supply has stayed the same, but the demand for those leads has gone way up because there's way more many agents now bidding up the cost per click and bidding on those leads, which drives the price higher. It's just like a bidding war in real estate, right? If there's a limited supply available of leads, but a ton of agents that want those leads, they'll bid the price up. Right? That's how the algorithm works on Google pay-per-click. That's how the algorithm works on Facebook ads, right? You bid the price up just like a bidding war on a home. And so the supply of people buying a house stayed the same, but now there's way more agents that are bidding on those leads. And so the price goes really, really high. If supply stays the same and demand goes up, what happens? The price increases. This is like econ like 101. You probably learn about this when you're 12 years old, right? Just the basic law of supply and demand. And so that's what's happened in online leads, primarily on Google, because now like I think something like 99% of people start their home search online and they go to Google, right? So here's what this means for you. Have you ever asked yourself again, if you're getting your leads from Boomtown or you're getting your leads from Curator or Commissions Inc., right? Where do you think they got the lead? They got the lead from Google, right? Because you might be thinking like, yeah, that's all great, but I don't get my leads from Google. You know, I get my leads from Boomtown or I get my leads from Commissions Inc., right? Well, where do you think they get the leads, right? And if Google is fundamentally getting more expensive because of the supply demand problem I just outlined, you know, way more realtors are trying to buy online leads, but there's a limited amount of leads because the same amount of people are buying homes today as they were 5 years ago, right? That's like an inherent structural problem right now with online advertising for realtors, is the equation of supply and demand is just kind of out of whack, right? And so if you're getting your leads from Boomtown or you're getting your leads from Commissions Inc., you know, you're thinking, well, why is that so much more expensive, right? Well, they're getting their leads from Google, right? The entire business model of the industry, you know, whether it's Curator, Boomtown, Commissions Inc., YLOPO, all the names I mentioned, they're just a middleman for ads on Google, right? They're just a middleman. They're just buying clicks from Google and then they sell you those clicks at a profit, right? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You know, it's not like it's bad ethics or anything like that. That's just something important that you should be aware of, that the entire online real estate lead gen industry is just a middleman industry. They're just buying from Google and then they're reselling those leads to you to make a profit, right? I mean, all businesses have to make a profit, right? Like I'm not against that at all. I love it. I love capitalism. But you just need to be aware of that that's how it works, right? So even if you're getting your leads from Zillow, for example, where do you think Zillow gets the leads from, right? Zillow has to spend a bunch of money on Google ads to get people to Zillow.com searching, and then they resell those leads to you, right? Obviously, how they make money is the difference between their cost of paying Google to get people to their website and what they ultimately can sell those impressions for, right? There's just arbitrage going on there. They buy low, sell high. And so if Google is getting fundamentally way more expensive, all these companies aren't just going to eat the cost, right? They're going to pass the cost on to you. So even if you're getting your leads from Boomtown or Zillow or whatever, if they're having to pay way more for Google leads, they're passing that cost right on to you. That's why you're seeing leads get so much more expensive, right? And because Google and Facebook, you know, all these companies, because they all implicitly operate on an auction-based system, right, where you bid against other people to get the leads, and basically the highest bidder gets the most clicks and leads, because it works on, this auction system, that's how their algorithms work. You can't solve the problem by just throwing more money at it. So let me say that again. Because it's like an auction-based algorithm, the engineers who wrote the algorithm for Google and Facebook, they're both using essentially an auction system, right, where people are bidding against each other to get those clicks and ultimately to get those leads, right? So because it's an auction system, you can't just throw more money at the problem, because actually that makes it worse. So if you just throw more money at it, you're like, oh, well, I'm only getting, 25 leads a month from Zillow and I'm paying $1,000 a month. I want to start getting 100 leads from Zillow, like I used to. So I'm just going to start spending $1,500 a month, right? You've actually permanently altered their algorithm by proving that you're willing to pay more for those leads. And so the cost per lead just goes up with you, right? Throwing more money at the problem when you're working with an algorithm like Facebook or Google actually just makes the problem worse, because now you're permanently bidding up the cost per click that you'll have to keep paying forever, right? So throwing more money at the problem is not the solution. I call this like the advertising industrial complex, because all of these companies, Google, Boomtown, Commissions Inc., Curator, Ylopo, Zillow, Realtor.com, right? All of them, they're fishing from the same pond. They're all getting their leads from Google. So if Google becomes more expensive, all of these companies become more expensive because they're all getting their leads from the same place, right? So rather than throwing more money at the problem and kind of just thinking, well, I guess I'll have to increase my marketing budget so I can get more leads, right? Don't throw money at the problem. Let's just avoid that problem entirely. Let's play a different game entirely. So rather than just throwing more money at Boomtown or Zillow or Commissions Inc. or, Realtor.com, wherever you're getting your leads, right? Rather than just throwing more money at it, let's do something different. Let's use Facebook ads. I actually like Facebook because it's the wild, wild west of online advertising right now. Facebook is where Google was in terms of like the maturity of its platform and the cost per click. Facebook is where Google was like 6 or 7 years ago. So Facebook is the wild, wild west of online advertising, where you can still get clicks for 30 cents a piece, 40 cents a piece, 50 cents a piece, right? You cannot get targeted clicks on Google AdWords in your local market for 40 cents a piece. I guarantee you that. But Facebook, we do all the time. Most agents I know that are sourcing their leads from Google or Zillow or whatever, they're paying $10 a lead, $25 a lead, $30 a lead. It's very difficult to make the marketing work when your leads are over $20, $30 a piece, right? Where they might spend $1,000 a month on ads on Zillow, on impressions, and they might, for that $1,000 a month, they're only getting, let's say, 30 leads, right? By the way, notice Zillow talks about impressions, not leads, because they don't even want to have enough like skin in the game to prove that they're getting you leads, which is why they sell you impressions, right? Which are basically just page views, right? So they're not even confident enough in their own product to actually guarantee that you're going to get business out of it. They just sell you impressions, right? So that should kind of tell you something right there. But if you want to grow your business, you have to make the marketing work for you, right? The numbers have to work, what I call the marketing math. The marketing math has to just make sense. And this is like 4th grade math. It's napkin math, right? I've found that Facebook is the best way to do it, because Facebook, we can consistently get leads for $3 a piece, like I mentioned earlier. So if you're getting leads for $3 a piece, that means that if you wanted to get 300 leads a month, you could basically do that for $1,000. So if you can spend $1,000 a month on ads, you can generate probably almost 300 leads, right? Even with just a 1% conversion rate on those leads, like a terrible conversion rate, right? That's still 3 closings for $1,000 a month in ad spend. That's pretty good, right? If you can get 3 closings and spend $1,000, you're running a very high margin profitable business, right? That is possible with Facebook ads. And so that's why most of our clients now at Platform, we focus on Facebook ads, because the numbers just work, right? I'm not saying Facebook's always going to be this way. Maybe in a couple of years that changes, but definitely right now, Facebook is the wild, wild west of online advertising, and that is where I recommend all of our clients spend their money. And I put my money like where my mouth is too. So with Platform, our agency, when we're running ads to, get realtors to hire us to do their marketing for them, because we have to advertise too. We spend every month somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $20,000 a month on Facebook ads, and it is 100% entirely on Facebook ads. I don't spend a single dollar on Google ads. So I'm all in. I believe Facebook works because we've actually quadrupled as a company in the last 2 years because of Facebook ads. And so we're spending right now, again, any month between $10,000, $20,000 a month on Facebook ads. And so I'm giving you advice because this is what's working right now. This is where I'm spending my own money, right? So I'm not telling you one thing and doing another. I highly recommend you shift your budget into Facebook ads because the cost per click and ultimately the cost per lead is just cheaper there. So all that being said, now that you kind of understand conceptually what's going on in the online marketing industry for realtors, let's talk about the specific Facebook ads that you should be running to get these leads, right? The problem with most Facebook ads, because we probably all know someone, and maybe it's us, who said, oh, I tried Facebook ads, it didn't work. Like I spent a bunch of money and I got some likes or I got some comments, but I didn't get any actual leads, right? Facebook ads don't work. The problem is that most Facebook ads aren't offering anything of actual value, right? You're basically just saying, hey, here's a house I listed, and then you boost the post for 20 bucks or you boost the post for 50 bucks or whatever. It's not actually offering value. It's the same thing when I see agents who, are advertising the newspaper or on a billboard, is that it's basically like their ad is just a smiling photo of them with their smiling face. And of course, you have to have your broker's logo on there for compliance reasons and whatever. But the agents aren't offering us any value in the ads. It's kind of just like, hey, here I am. I'm a top producer. You should hire me, right? It's like most ads that agents run, whether it's on Facebook or not, they're basically just bragging about you, but it's not offering any value to the person seeing the ad, right? There's no opt-in, there's no lead magnet. There's like the reason you're on this webinar, right? Let's just talk about that. The reason you're on this webinar is because we offered you a free book if you joined us on the webinar. So everyone, of course, is going to get a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, right? Let's just be honest. That's the reason you're on the webinar. I'm not dumb. I know that like you didn't join here this morning just because you wanted to hang out, for fun. It's because you wanted a free copy of the book. You saw our Facebook ad and you said, hey, well, I don't know if I want to join that webinar. I haven't heard of Tim. Like I'm not familiar with him, but if I get a free copy of that book looks interesting. Like, yeah, sure. I'll go to the webinar. If you're listening to me talk right now, you are proof that this idea works, that if you offer value in an ad, the ad will work really, really well, right? And so you can't just throw money at Facebook ads and expect to get a bunch of leads. You actually have to have a strategy behind offering value. What are you offering in exchange for someone's contact information? So to provide value, to be successful with Facebook ads, marketing is as simple as this. Offer something of value in exchange for someone's contact information. Or even better, I could say trade something of value in exchange for someone's contact information. Every good Facebook ad is just a trade. Like, hey, I'll give you this if you give me your contact information, right? You saw this a couple years ago where a lot of agents became successful, with that home value ad, right? Where it's like, hey, if you click here, you can get a free home value report. And then like, you're collecting their address and their name and email and all that stuff. And then you would just send them like an automated CMA, right? And those worked a couple years ago, but the problem is every agent started running that ad. And pretty soon the public caught on that like, oh, it's just kind of a lead gen thing. It's just a way for agents to get my contact info, right? So that kind of stopped working a couple years ago. But the principle is still true. If you offer value in an ad, you will get leads, right? I think of a good ad as like trading baseball cards, right? Like if I had like a Babe Ruth like autographed card, I wouldn't trade it for just some random player, right? If it was a Babe Ruth autographed card, someone would have to give me a really, really good set of cards probably in return for that because the Babe Ruth card is worth so much, right? If you were a kid, you traded baseball cards, right? If you were a girl like me, maybe you traded Barbies and stuff with your friends, right? The point is, if you're going to make a trade, it has to be a fair trade, right? It has to be a fair trade. Most agents in their ads are not offering a fair trade. They're just saying, hey, if you click here, give me all your contact information and, I'll follow up with you, right? There's like no actual offer of value, right? The way that 99% of real estate agent websites work today, they have an IDX website, right? Whether the IDX website is from Real Geeks or maybe it's your Boomtown website, Commissions Inc. Maybe your website is through through Playster. There's a ton of companies, right, that'll give you an IDX website. I know there's some like brokerages now, they're just including it as part of you being with their brokerage is you get an IDX website, right? That's all great. So if you drive clicks to your IDX website, most of these work, they generate leads by once someone has viewed, 2 or 3 houses, then boom, they get a pop-up that asks them to create an account, right? To keep searching for homes, please create an account. And then you're asking them to give, their name, email, phone number, and then they can keep searching for homes, right? I've also seen it where if you go to an IDX website, there's basically an invisible timer that's baked into the code of that website, where as soon as it detects that someone's been on the website for 30 seconds, right, then boom, they get a pop-up that says, to continue searching for homes, please create an account, right? And they're not charging money for it, right? It's just like, hey, all you need to do is create an account. So give us, your name, email, phone number, and you can keep searching for homes, right? The problem with this is that it doesn't really provide any value. Like, you're basically, holding them up at gunpoint. It's not really a trade. It's like a hostage like situation where it's like, hey, give me all your contact information or else, or else you can't keep looking at homes. And agents need to realize that, like, that's not really a fair trade anymore, because people can search for homes for free online. They can go to Zillow, they can go to realtor.com, and neither of those websites demand that you create an account just to look at homes, right? And so if your idea of generating leads is that, oh, they'll go to my website and they'll sign up, and that's how we'll generate leads, like, that's just an outdated concept, and it's showing in the numbers, right? The average IDX website only converts 2 to 3% of people that go to your websites. That means you are wasting a full 97% of your marketing budget driving leads to your website, because 97% of people, as soon as they see that pop-up where it's asking for their contact information, they leave and they don't come back. 97%. So you're wasting that much of your budget just because that model of demanding, like, that someone create an account just to look at homes on your website, it's that inefficient, 97%. Now with the platform ads I'm about to show you in like 30 seconds here, these convert on the landing page an average of 20-25%. So we're literally talking about almost a 10x increase, a 10 times increase in the conversion rate of the leads, because it's just much more efficient. We're actually offering value in our ads where people want to sign up because they want what we have so bad that they're willing to give us their contact information, right? So the old way of doing things, where you drive them to an IDX website, and you demand that they create an account, that just doesn't work anymore, because it's not really valuable, because I can go elsewhere and get that for free, right? It's like, if you think of restaurants in your area or coffee shops, right? Pretty much every coffee shop now offers free Wi-Fi. It is May 29th, 2018. You would be hard pressed to find any coffee shop in your area that charges money for Wi-Fi, right? Or demands something for Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is basically universally free everywhere. You can get Wi-Fi at McDonald's now. Gas stations have Wi-Fi, right? And so if you were trying to use Wi-Fi as a marketing strategy for your restaurant, that just doesn't really work anymore. You're not going to be able to charge for it. Like, Wi-Fi is free everywhere. People expect to get it for free. It's the same thing with homes now, guys. Like, people don't want to have to opt in and create an account just to look at homes on your website, because they'll just go to realtor.com and do it for free. Why would they give you their contact information, right? So if you want to generate a bunch of leads, it's as simple as offering real value in your ad. I mentioned earlier that you're on this webinar because we offered a free copy of the book. Just so you guys know how the math worked on this particular webinar. We spent about $1,000 on the ad. We had about 200 people sign up. And so $1,000 divided by 200 means that our cost per lead was actually about $5, right? So every $5 we spent, we got a lead who signed up to attend the webinar. That's pretty good, considering we were actually targeting agents across the entire United States of America, right? So a $5 cost per lead with that broad of targeting is actually really, really good. But you guys will have a way better cost per lead than that if you do Facebook ads, because you're targeting maybe a 10-mile radius around where you want to work, right? You're really like micro, like geographically targeting where you want to get listings, where you want to get buyers, because most agents don't want to have to drive an hour away, so it's not like they're targeting a 30 or 40-mile radius. They're probably targeting a pretty tight 10-mile radius around the area they want to focus on working, right? So your cost per lead isn't going to be $5. It's probably going to be a lot closer to $3 a piece. And that's what we've seen as kind of an average for our platform clients, is their leads come in for about $3 a piece, right? And so if we can get it for $5, I guarantee you that you can get it for $3 a piece. You just have to offer something that's actually valuable. To get you on this webinar, we offered a free book. So what could you offer in your ads to get people to click and give you their contact information? Well, let's talk about that. One of the first ads I recommend that you do is what I call a pool Homes Report. And what the Pool Homes Report is it's a Facebook ad that offers a free list of all the homes in your area that specifically have a pool, right? And so it's not just a general list of all the homes like an IDX website. It's a custom curated report that you create of all the active listings, the homes for sale in your community that have a pool, right? And we launched this Facebook ad. Usually in the Facebook targeting, we target people over the age of 30 that are already a homeowner. And I'll explain more in a second. So in the Facebook targeting on this ad, we're targeting people over the age of 30 who are already a homeowner in your area. So that's how the Facebook ad is set up behind the scenes. But what the ad actually says publicly is, let's say that you're in like Madison, Wisconsin, right? You would create an ad. The Facebook ad would have a picture of a home with a pool that looks like it's a Madison home. It doesn't have to be an actual listing, right? It can just be some stock photo of a house that looks like it's in Madison that has a pool, right? And the Facebook ad says, "Attention Madison. I've created a free report of all the homes for sale in Madison that have a pool. If you want to view the report, go to www.madisonpoolhomesreport.com," right? So it's pretty simple, straightforward, right to the point. "Attention Madison. I've created a free report of all the homes for sale here that have a pool. To view the homes, go to www.madisonpoolhomesreport.com," right? It's just a picture of a house that has a pool, right? And they click that, and it brings them to a landing page that asks them to give their name and email to get that list, right? Now, this landing page, like I said, usually converts at about 20 to 25%, right? So not 3% like your IDX website, but 20 to 25%. And so that means because the cost per click is cheap enough and we're converting at a high rate like that, like your cost per lead is often $3 a piece, right? So every $100 you spend on this Pool Homes Report ad, you're going to get over 30 leads. And I know what you're probably thinking right now, like, well, I don't want a bunch of, people that want a pool home because maybe my area doesn't have a lot of pool homes, or, I don't want buyer leads. I want listing leads, right? We're in a hot sellers market. I don't want more buyers. What I need are listings, right? That's actually the exact reason we run the Pool Homes Report ad. It has nothing to do with trying to get buyers who want a pool. The real psychology that makes this ad work is that we know that anyone who's buying a house with a pool, there's a 99% likelihood that they already own a home, because it's very, very rare that a first-time home buyer out there goes out and buys, a $300,000 home with a pool, right? That's very, very rare. So kind of secretly what we're doing is we're actually using this ad to get listings, because all the leads that come in that are interested in looking at homes with pools, what we know just because we're agents is that those leads are probably move-up buyers, right? They're people who already own homes that are looking to upgrade and move up to something bigger with a pool, right? Which is why I said in the Facebook targeting on this ad, what works really, really well is targeting people that are over the age of 30 in your area, over the age of 30, and they're homeowners. That's all stuff you can do in Facebook ads, right? And by the way, like, this is one of the ads that we run for all of our platform clients around the country. It has never not worked. We have, like, I think 130 realtors we work with right now around the country. And this ad has never not worked to generate warm leads. But again, the real reason we run this ad is the leads that are coming in are homeowners. They're existing homeowners. And so when you get that lead, you're going to get a listing out of it and a buyer, because they have to sell their current house so that they can move up and buy a home with a pool. So you're getting kind of a twofer. You're getting the listing side and the buy side when they move up to buy a home with a pool. So it has nothing to do, again, with like pools or wanting to work with, a buyer who wants a pool. It has everything to do with just kind of that secret knowledge that we know anyone who's requesting this list is probably a move up buyer. And so we're going to get a listing transaction out of it too. So that ad works really, really well. We call it the Pool Homes Report, right? And this is an ad, seriously, that we've run with hundreds of our platform realtors around the country who hire us to do their marketing for them, and it's never not worked. I mentioned, by the way, at the end of this webinar here, in addition to getting a free copy of the book, if you want us to set up all these ads for you and kind of do everything for you, we're going to offer that. We'll actually give you a trial month as an additional bonus on top of the free book. So the Pool Homes Report is one of my favorite ads because it actually gets listing leads, right? Another ad that I love, though, is what I call the Acreage Homes Report, because I know what you're probably thinking. Like, you're like, hey, Tim, I'm in Montana, or I'm in northern Minnesota, or I live in, Washington State, or I'm in, Northern Ohio, right? Where like there's not a lot of pool homes here because we're a more rural area. It's kind of cold, Midwest or a northern state, right? There's not a lot of pool homes here, right? It's not Florida, it's not Texas, it's not California, right? And so you're like, hey, that ad wouldn't work in my market. Cool. Here's what would work. Do an acreage homes report. This is another ad that just consistently kicks butt. So the acreage homes report kind of leverages the same psychology as the pool homes report, except we're offering a free report of homes with acreage, right? So the ad is very, very similar to the pool homes report ad, where we're targeting homeowners over the age of 30. And then the ad just says, let's say you're in like Fargo, North Dakota, right? Where you're like, hey, there's not a ton of homes with pools in Fargo, but there's lots of homes that have acreage, right? So this ad will work really, really well for you. And again, this is an ad that we've run with hundreds of platform realtors around the country. It always works. This ad, often we get leads for like $1.50, $2 a piece. It's not even $3. The leads are often $2 a piece or less on this acreage homes report. So if you were in Fargo, what that ad might say is like, attention Fargo, I've created a custom list of all the homes for sale here in the Fargo area that have acreage. To view the list, go to www.fargoacreagehomesreport.com, right? And the photo you use in the ad is just a picture of a house that looks like it has a couple acres of land around it, right? And what you define as acreage is up to you, because in some areas a house isn't considered to have acreage unless you have at least 3 or 4 acres, and in other areas of the country, if you even have half an acre or 1 acre of land, that's considered a home with acreage, right? So how you define that is totally up to you. Use your common sense for what makes sense for your market, right? But the acreage homes report works really, really well in some of those like Midwestern or Northern states that maybe a pool homes list wouldn't work as well, right? So the acreage homes report can generate a ton of leads for you, but we're using the same psychology that makes the pool homes report work. It has nothing to do with trying to get leads who want to buy a house with acreage, right? That has nothing to do with it, right? The whole reason that we're running this acreage homes report is because what we know is all these people that are looking for a house with acreage, they're existing homeowners. Pretty much no one buys a house with acreage unless they already had a house and they're moving up, right? Like there's not first-time home buyers that go out there and buy a house with 5 acres, right? That just doesn't happen. So pretty much all the leads that are opting into this are listing leads, right? They're people who already own a house and they already own a house and they want to move up to a house with acreage. So secretly what we're doing is actually generating a huge pipeline of seller leads, which is, in most markets around the country, being you're in like a low inventory sellers market, if you can have a reliable stream of seller leads coming in, that puts you at a huge advantage compared to other agents in your market. So I don't have time right now. I want to get to the end here where I can like give you guys a free copy of the book. And so if you want more examples of ads, just go to platformmarketingpdf.com and you can see 5 more specific examples of Facebook ads that are working right now. So that's platformmarketingpdf.com. I'll give you 5 seconds to go there and download that. Cool. So again, platformmarketingpdf.com. Of course, if you just went there and grabbed that right now, you had to enter your name and email. And think about it. I already have your name and email. Like if you're on this webinar, you signed up for the webinar, right? I already have your contact information. So I didn't really need to ask for it over again, but I wanted to actually prove a point in this slide here at platformmarketingpdf.com that if you offer something of value, people are totally willing to give you their name and email, right? So generating leads is not hard. That's the point I want to make here. Generating leads is not hard if you're actually offering something of value. That's what makes the acreage homes report work. That's what makes the pool homes report work, is that you're offering a custom curated list that people are, oh yeah, I actually really want that. That would speed up my home search if someone created a custom list like this. Yes, I will totally give you my name and email in exchange for that, right? So if you want to see those 5 specific Facebook ads, of course, you're going to give me your name and email, right? Like it wouldn't even cross your mind not to be like, oh, I don't want to give this person my name and email, right? And so, of course, you want to get this report. Like, it's not like I'm charging $100 for it, right? It's free. So if you offer something of value, it's pretty easy to get people to give you their contact information, right? If you offer something of value, that's what makes all of this work. There's not a shortage, there's not a shortage out there of people that are willing to give you their name and email. That's a total myth. That's what people are talking about right now. Is people are getting sick of ads. They're getting, they're getting ad fatigue, right? People just don't click on Facebook ads anymore because there's so many of them. That's just not true, right? There is not a shortage of buyers and sellers out there that are willing to give you their contact information. What there's a shortage of is realtors that are putting any creativity into their ads whatsoever, right? There's a shortage of realtors that are creating ads that are worth clicking on, right? And so I just want to really emphasize that. If you look at the platform marketing PDF, I'm giving you something super valuable in addition to the free book you're getting, right? Of course, you'll give your contact information because it's something you actually want. You can apply that to your business, to how you generate buyer and seller leads, right? So as I wrap this up, I'm going to show you this quick video here of Brandon. Brandon is a realtor in the Denver suburbs who's using this high-hanging fruit system, and he's going to show you a $400,000 listing he got from using this system. And what he says here is it's not just about the number of leads coming in, it's about how you follow up with those leads and actually build relationships, because if they are 2 or 3 months out, maybe 4 months out in that sales cycle, right, it gives you time to actually get to know them, and so you convert a higher percentage of your leads, right? You convert a higher percentage of your leads. That's what high-hanging fruit is about.
2016, my team's going to do over 40 lead gen deals. It's not just all about the leads. We're walking up to a listing I have where the owner saw me in a retargeting campaign through a market update video, and now I've got a $450,000 listing. This whole high-hanging fruit marketing campaign strategy, it really works.
Awesome. So I'm going to skip ahead to the end here, guys, because I know that some of you have appointments to get to, and I do want to respect your time. And so I'll fly through these end of slides here. The last thing I want to touch on is quality over quantity and the idea of fishing upstream, because again, it's not about getting 200 leads a month or 300 leads a month or 400 leads a month or 1,000 leads a month, right? If you don't actually have a system for converting those leads, you'll just end up wasting a bunch of money, right? And so with this, we want quality over quantity. Like I would actually rather have 50 leads a month if they're really quality and they're actually responding to you. So in how we set up these ads, we're getting over a 50% open rate, in many instances a 20% reply rate on the emails that we set up with these leads. So we're getting people's real email addresses and their real phone numbers, right? If you're on this webinar right now, you're proof that this works. Because you clicked on an ad, you gave us your contact information. Obviously, you gave us your real email address, or else we couldn't have emailed you the link for the webinar, right? So if you're on this webinar right now, you are proof of this quality versus quantity thing because you gave us your actual contact information, right? That's the other downside of of this advertising industrial complex I talked about with Commissions Inc., Boomtown, Zillow, pretty much all those big companies, right? Is that agents complain all the time that half the leads they're getting are fake. It's fake email addresses, it's fake phone numbers, it's fake contact information, because the people, when they went to your website, like your IDX website, they didn't want to give you their contact information, but you kind of held them hostage and demanded that they give you their name and email and phone number, but they didn't really want to give it to you. So what do people do? Naturally, they just give you fake contact information, so you can't follow up with them, right? But the fact that you're on this webinar is proof that this strategy works. If you actually provide value, people will happily give you their name, their email, their phone number, all that, if you actually provide value, right? So to get quality leads, you have to trade quality information in exchange for people's contact information, right? It has to be a fair trade. So the final slide here, guys, before I give you the free book, the final slide is what I call fishing upstream. This is just a quick analogy I want to make. Let's say that you and some buddies are out fishing at a river, you all have your lines casting, you're maybe standing just a couple feet apart from each other because you're just talking, socializing, having a good time. The problem with fishing that way is that it's a zero-sum game, right? If you're all fishing in the same area, it's zero-sum. So a fish you catch is now a fish that your friend can't catch. If they catch a fish, you can't catch that fish. It's zero-sum, right? For you to win, someone else has to lose. What would happen, though, if you walked 100 feet upstream? Not a mile upstream, just 100 feet upstream, right? And you cast your line in there. You would intercept all the fish before they got downstream to where everyone else was fishing. Like you would catch all the fish before they got down there, right? That's what high hanging fruit is all about. We're setting up a lead generation system ideally appeals to people maybe 2, 3, even 4 months before they're ready to list their house for sale or before they're ready to go house hunting, so that you don't have any competition. We're basically intercepting all the leads higher up in the sales cycle so you don't have competition from other agents. I said this was a live webinar. It's May 29th right now. And so a lot of the leads you're generating might not actually be ready to buy a house until August, or they might not be ready to list their house until August or even September, right? But if we get them to opt in now before they end up going on Zillow and signing up, and then they get barraged with dozens of phone calls from agents because Zillow obviously sold their contact information to a bunch of agents. If we can reach them before that point and you build a relationship with them, they won't be tempted to go on Zillow or Realtor.com and sign up and then start working with another agent, because you essentially have a 90-day head start on other agents, a 90-day head start where you can build a relationship with your leads before they go out and they get ready to buy a house, right? So your conversion rate on this should be much higher because you're not competing with other agents, right? Like by fishing upstream with this high-hanging fruit, you're giving yourself a head start, right? So I'm going to show you this 10-second video, and I'm not lying or I'm not exaggerating. It's literally a 10-second video. This is about someone who implemented this high-hanging fruit system, and they actually already have done more business this year. And I think this was filmed in like February. And so in February of 2018, they had already converted more business than they did in all of 2017, like the entire year, thanks to the platform system, right? So I'm going to show you this 10-second video, and then I'm going to show you guys how to get a free copy of the book. So hang tight for another 30 seconds and you'll get a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit. And then I'm going to share with you how you can get signed up on a trial month of platform if you're interested. So in addition to a free copy of the book, everyone on this webinar will be eligible for a trial month of platform marketing if you're interested. All right, let's watch this video and then I'll show you how to get a free copy of the book.
I have a pipeline in 2018 that is as large as everything that I closed in 2017. What else can you say?
Awesome. What else can you say? Again, he'd already made more money by the end of February than all the business he did last year for the entire year. So thank you for hanging with us, guys. If you want to get a free copy of the book, it's www.highhangingfruitbook.com. So www.highhangingfruitbook.com. That's where you can grab a free copy of the book. Just to be clear, it's not www.highhangingfruit.com. It's www.highhangingfruitbook.com. So thank you for staying with us on this webinar. That's how you get a free copy of the book. And now I want to take just a couple minutes here and talk about the platform marketing system, because we are going to give you a trial month. So if you watch this webinar, if you are interested, if the idea of getting like 200 leads a month sounds cool to you, but you don't want to learn how to do advanced Facebook ads, like you don't want to learn how to set up the retargeting and landing pages and email follow-up sequences and text message follow-up sequences, because by the way, like text message follow-up is pretty much 10 times more effective than email follow-up. That's what we found in kind of our internal split tests, is that people are way, way, way more likely to respond to text messages than they are to emails. And so if you want us to handle all that for you, because we are a professional marketing agency that works with realtors, we'll handle all that for you. We set up all your ads. We set up the follow-up system so that all you have to do is follow up with warm leads. If you want us to do all that for you, we're actually going to give you a trial month on this webinar. And so you don't have to sign up. You're not locked into a contract or anything. You just get a trial month as our way of saying thank you. In addition to getting a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, we're going to give you a trial month of platform. So here's the catch, because there is one catch. Here's the catch. We only work with one agent per city. So before you sign up for that trial month, the first thing we need to do is basically just make sure that your city isn't already taken, because we're really, really strict on that. So that's one way we're very, very different from like a Boomtown or Commissions Inc. or a Curator or whatever, where they might have 20 or 30 agents, for example, in Katy, Texas, or in Nashville, Tennessee, that are all using the same system. So they're not like market exclusive at all. We are. Even in a town like Katy, which has like, over 100,000 people or whatever, or Nashville obviously has like 1 million, we only work with one agent. So it's not one zip code, but one city. You get the entire city that you're in. So not just one zip code or one neighborhood, you get the entire city. So we're very, very exclusive. So before you sign up actually for that trial month, first, we just want to verify that we don't already have a client that we're working with who's in your market. So just go to platformmarketmap.com and that'll tell you if your market is available, right? It'll take you literally 10 seconds. Just go to www.platformmarketmap.com and that's how we'll let you know if your market is still available, because we only work with one agent per city. Here's a quick video of Brittany Opie. She's actually a client in kind of the northern Atlanta suburbs who is totally crushing it this year. She filmed this video, I think, in March. So here's the result she's already gotten just in March of this year.
Hey, I just want to give a real quick update on how my platform business has been over the last 2 weeks. I've actually been able to get 4 of my platform clients under contract, ready to close within the next 30 to 45 days. In the pipeline, I have well over $2.5 million in volume that hopefully will be closing within the next 60 days. This is definitely the best decision that I've ever made in my real estate business. Thanks so much, platform.
Awesome. So again, that was filmed this year. This video isn't like 2 years old or 3 years old. That was filmed this spring. And so if you want to get the same results that Brittany is getting, just check out www.platformmarketmap.com. We'll get you signed up on a trial month. We'll just verify, of course, that you're in a market that's still available, where we don't already have a client there. By the way, the reason we do that is because the marketing works way better if you're the only realtor in your entire market who's running these style ads and who has these ads set up. The main problem with Curator or Boomtown or all these other systems, right, is that even if they give you advice on ads that you should be running to get leads, your ads are the same as 10 or 20 or 30 other agents that are in your market that are running that exact same marketing system. And so it's not going to work as well, right? Because your marketing is the same as everyone else's. And one of the first principles of marketing is you want to stand out, right? You want to be different from everyone. So that's why we only work with one realtor per market. We're really strict on that. Right. So even in a big city like Nashville, we only work with one agent in Nashville, right? Just one. They get the entire Nashville market, not just one zip code, but all of Nashville, right? And so to get set up on that, it'll take, 10 seconds. In the time I've been talking on the slide, you could have already signed up. It's just www.platformmarketmap.com. All we're going to do when you go there is we're just going to ask you what city you're in so we can verify that your market is available, right? So www.platformmarketmap.com. This is Crystal. She's a realtor in like Mississippi, I believe. And Crystal's results in her very first month are totally crazy. Keep in mind, these results were on her trial month. So even in the trial month, she just kicked butt and got results. Here's the business that she generated in her very first trial month.
Hi, this is Crystal Boggs. This is my first week with Platform. I started Tuesday about 4 p.m. By Wednesday, I had 3 buyers pre-approved. By Sunday, 1 was in negotiations, 1 under contract, and 1 still viewing homes. It was an amazing week. Thank you, Platform.
Awesome. So again, those results that Crystal got were in her very first month. It's not like it took 90 days to create that level of business. That all happened in her very first month. And so we have so many case studies of agents I can show you guys that, have added $50,000 to their business or $100,000 to their business. Some people have even added $200,000 in GCI to their business, right? All you need to do to get started for that trial month that we're offering you as kind of just a bonus, our way of saying thank you for joining us on this webinar, is check out www.platformmarketmap.com. The other thing I'll add really quick before I show you this video of Rob Warwick, he's a realtor in North Carolina that's working with Platform, is this is really, really cool. We don't have any contracts. So you don't have to sign like an annual, contract to hire us to do your marketing, or there's not even a 6-month contract or a 90-day contract. There's no contracts whatsoever. It's totally month to month. That is how confident we are in Platform, that we don't need to lock our clients into contracts, because when they sign up, it works. And so they'll never quit. We have clients that have been with us for 4 years. So for 4 years, with all the changes in online marketing and all the new websites and new marketing systems that pop up, with realtors, like for 4 years, they've been working with us because we consistently get them so much business every month that they would never quit. And so for 4 years, they've stayed with us, even though we don't have any contracts. It's totally month to month. So that's the cool thing is, when you sign up for your trial month, it's not like a bait and switch thing where you're signing up for a trial month, but you technically are, getting locked into a 6-month contract or something stupid like that. There's no contracts whatsoever. As the CEO of Platform, that's actually something I'm personally really, really proud of, is that we don't have to lock our clients into contracts. That's something I'm proud of, that like we keep our clients And we've been able to successfully grow our business without having to lock them into contracts because the marketing system just works. I can't think of anything to show you how confident I am that platform marketing will work to grow your business. I can't think of anything that would prove that confidence more than saying, hey, I'm willing to stake my entire business on it. We don't have any contracts. So you can quit any day you want. That's how confident we are that it works. So if you want to get set up on that trial month, it's just www.platformmarketmap.com. Just tell us where you live, tell us where your market is, and we can get you set up on a trial month.
Talk really quickly about my experience with Platform. Been with them for about 6 months. We've added about $100,000 to my GCI. Plenty of leads for next year, and really, really powerful stuff as far as what Tim's able to do. And if you're on the fence about the marketing, quit questioning it. It's well worth it. The team and Tim are great to work with, so I have no complaints, and we're looking for a better 2018, even though this year's already been a really, really productive half a year really with Platform and the whole company.
So he'd only been working with Platform when he filmed that video for less than 6 months. And in less than 6 months, he already added an extra $100,000 to his GCI. In less than 6 months, like not even a full year. So that's pretty cool. If you want results like Rob's, check out www.platformmarketmap.com. Here's a quick video of Taylor. The cool thing is, I'll tell you before this video, Taylor's getting results, and he's only 25 years old.
Hey Brandon, it's Taylor. I'm a real estate agent down here in Tampa, 25 years old, and before I started joining with Platform, I made just under 40 grand, around 35. Last year in 2017, I closed over 7 million, made over 150 grand, and next year it's the $250,000 mark. I need to hit over 250, and I definitely thank that to Platform.
So again, like his very first year, he added over $100,000 to his GCI specifically because of Platform. So platformmarketmap.com. Here's a quick video that we put together recently, just explaining some of the differences between Platform and maybe other marketing companies that you may have heard of. Just showing how Platform is different.
Here's 4 things you need to know before hiring a marketing company. First, make sure that your marketing company isn't working for your competition. Many companies like Zillow, Curator, and Boomtown are simultaneously working with dozens of agents in the same market. This helps them make more money, but it's not what's in your best interest. Second, make sure your marketing company is actually generating leads for you. Many companies are really just website companies. To succeed in a world of social media, you need more than a website. You need actual leads. Third, make sure you set aside time to call your leads as soon as you can. A Harvard study showed that if you call a lead as soon as they come in, they are 7 times more likely to qualify than even waiting 1 hour. Fourth, if you can't call your leads right away, make sure that your marketing sends a text message to the leads. Maybe you're on a listing appointment and you can't call a new lead that comes in. Text messages have a 98% open rate, yet most agents aren't texting their damn leads. The perfect marketing company would help you generate leads, convert leads, and it would be exclusive. What if a marketing company did all of the above and it only partnered with 1 real estate agent per city? Sounds crazy, right? For more information, check out platformrealestate.com.
Again, only 1 person per city. Go to www.platformmarketmap.com. This is a really cool video I want to show you here. So this is an agent who actually added, I think like 175,000 to her GCI. And so, before Platform, she was making like 100 grand a year in GCI, and now she's making 275 in GCI, specifically because of Platform. So I actually asked her to film this video specifically so that I could show this on this webinar. So she filmed this video basically saying, hey, what would you tell someone who was thinking about signing up to join the Platform family, but they were a little nervous, they were skeptical, whatever. So I asked her to film a video like, what would you tell another agent if they asked you what your experience has been with Platform? Like, what would you tell them if they were thinking about signing up for that trial month? So here's the video that she filmed.
Danny, I am a realtor in Texas. If you're watching this, it's probably because you're interested in the Platform trial month. I have to tell you, you would be crazy not to take them up on that. When I started with Platform about 18 months ago, I didn't get a trial or any kind of discount, but it has hands down been the best investment I ever made in my business. When I first started with them, I was doing about probably 100,000 in income, so about a little over about 4 million in GCI, or excuse me, in production Now, today, after being there a little over a year and a half, I have doubled, almost quadrupled that, and we'll do about 275 in GCI this year. I actually hired my first buyer's agent. I also have a part-time administrative person. So it's just been a really good decision, and to be able to try it out for a discounted price is awesome. And I wish I would have gotten to do that. But, you know, I still made an incredible return on that investment. So I definitely would highly recommend it.
Awesome. So again, I mean, that's in her own words. If you were thinking about it, go for it, right? Platformmarketmap.com. Here's a quick video again, just showing how quickly this starts working. I know we talked about high hanging fruit. I know we said that often a lot of leads are 90 days out, but you do get leads that are ready right away, especially this time of year, right? Being we're in May right now, June is like a couple days away. So the summer hasn't even technically begun yet. If you start the platform marketing system, if you get set up on a trial month right now, it'll start working right away just because of the natural sales cycle that most of the buyers and sellers in are in right now, right? Like they're not going to wait until September to list their home if they can list it during the summer. And so everything I said on the webinar is actually going to work at an accelerated pace just because of the time of year. Now, if we were doing this live webinar, let's say in September, I wouldn't say that, because in September, there's a very good chance that, you know, if you get a listing, they might not want to list until next spring, right? But because of the time of year that we're in right now, it will not take you 90 days to get, you know, your first converted client, right? You will get leads right away and it'll start working right away. So I know that's the main question that people often ask with platform is, well, I heard about, you know, your whole high hanging fruit theory, but I don't want to wait 90 days to get a closing, or I don't want to wait 5 months to get a closing. How quickly does it actually start working? Here's your answer.
Hi, this is Michelle Jones from Tennessee. I joined the platform webinar. I signed up, and my results for the first 10 days are that the 2 new listings ads that I ran with platform, I got both under contract in the same day. I also have 5 active buyers that I'm currently working with now, and I also have obtained 3 new listings.
Again, it works right away. It works right away, especially because of the time of year we're in. I mean, like, I'm honest, like that's just a fact. We're in May right now, right? Almost June, like a day away from it being June. If you generate leads, chances are mathematically, those are people that are wanting to buy or sell in June or July. Right, so you're going to have closings very, very quickly. This is one of my favorite videos I show on this entire high-hanging fruit webinar training. This is Danny Springfield. Her business grew actually by about 200,000 in GCI, but the cool thing is she actually is working less now. She's working less than she was before, but she's making 200K a year more because platform freed up her time, like what I talked about earlier in the webinar, where you only want to spend your time following up with warm leads, right? So her business has grown so much that her husband, who's an engineer, actually quit his career as an engineer and joined her real estate team. So now she gets to spend more time with her husband. And their business has grown so much that it was still a net positive for their family financially. Like they made a net financial gain of him walking away from a high-paying engineering job to join her team. That's how much more money her family's making now. So she gets to spend more time with her husband, Travis, more time with her kids. It's just a win-win, right? So she's actually making much more money now, and she gets to spend more time, like more time with her family, not less time or the same amount of time, but more time with her family. I mean, how many case studies do you ever see of a realtor who says, I grew my business by 200K in GCI, and now I'm spending even more time with my family? So this is Danny Springfield, and this is one of my favorite little videos that I'm showing you here. So if this story resonates with you, check out platformmarketmap.com.
Hi, I'm Danny Springfield in San Antonio.
my platform story starts, I've been in business and real estate for about 5 years. When I signed up, I was plateauing at about 13 to 15 million a year. I had another agent on board with me, but I knew that we could get a little bigger and do a little better. Most importantly, I wanted to do that in a scaled fashion. So signing up with Platform enabled me to build my business to about $20 million a year, but where I'm spending more time, I have 3 little kids, where I'm spending more time with them. My husband actually left his engineering job to join my team, and that has been such a godsend for our family. Our quality of life has increased dramatically, and we owe a lot of that to Platform. The biggest change has been the quality of leads, so you're not spending all your time chasing ones that aren't very good, and maybe even most importantly for me has been that Platform, it gets me in front of my sphere for referral business so easily with very little effort on my part. So I'm a happy client. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and I'm really just thankful to be part of the Platform family. Thanks.
So that's super cool because, again, like we have a bunch of case studies of people that have grown their business, but she's someone who grew her business and she gets to spend more time with her family. So that's a pretty rare combination where it's kind of a win-win, have your cake and eat it too. The reason I want to show you this quick video, this is Jeff Downing. He is in Iowa, right? And the reason I'm showing you this video is because I want you to realize Platform works in all sorts of markets around the country. So it's not just like Texas or just Florida or just Arizona or just, you know, California. Like it works in any city in the United States, big cities, small towns, suburbs, farm towns, everything in between. So this is Jeff. He's in Iowa and he's totally crushing it in his business this year because of Platform. And again, this video was filmed in his very first month. And so I want you to realize you get results right away with Platform. You don't have to wait, 6 months to get results. It doesn't take, 90 days even to start working. You get results right away in your very first month.
Hey guys, Jeff Downing here. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. As you can see, the corn's growing right behind me, so I am definitely in Iowa. Just hit my 30-day anniversary with Platform, and I want to share with you some of my successes. First campaign, first night it's going, and wake up, my phone's got a full contact lead. Name, number, address, and then down at the bottom, the most beautiful thing in the world says, yeah, I'm looking to buy a house in the next 90 days. We were able to get their home listed and get them upgraded in house. Both those houses went pending just last weekend, which is about $14,000 in GCI off my first day in my first month here in Platform. Also had a call, hey, love your video. We're looking to sell our house and upgrade. So just last night was on a listing appointment for $425,000. That's an at-bat I would not have had without Platform. I've also added literally hundreds of contacts into my drip campaigns and into my SOI. So that's been really, really cool. Finally, I love talking to my account administrator once a week. David, if you're out there, man, you're the best. Love chatting with him every Monday. We can look at the effectiveness of the ads, my ad spend, and he's also helped me with scripts, when to call back.
Okay, so what he's talking about there, David, right, is one other cool thing that makes Platform different from every other marketing company that you work with is we do a one-on-one coaching call with you every week. And so it's not a group call. It's not like a group webinar or a group coaching call where it's you and 100 other agents, right? It's literally a one-on-one personal coaching call every week, and you get a personal account manager assigned to you who sets up all your ads. You can talk with them anytime. You have their cell phone number to text them with questions or call them. They coach you on how to follow up with leads. They'll give you ideas for videos and advice on filming the best like retargeting videos. It's basically a personal one-on-one account executive that only is working with you, right? So it's not like a group coaching thing where it's you and 10 other agents or 50 other agents, right? They're only working with you. So when he mentions David, David is his account manager that manages all of his ads, edits his videos and hops on the phone with Jeff every single week. And so again, it's not a group coaching thing. You have a personal account manager assigned with you that you'll talk on the phone with every week. And I know a lot of other marketing companies out there, like, you might sign up and then you might talk to someone like a salesperson, right, on the phone. And then you'll never talk to anyone at that company again until 6 months later when you want to quit, and then you call them, right? We, on the other hand, talk with our clients on the phone every single week, like a one-on-one phone call every single week. So it's not like we go a long time without talking to you, right? Every week we're talking on the phone. And so that allows us to get you better results because there's constant communication going on. So that's what he's talking about there.
What to say, email returns, just get rejuvenated to start the week after talking with David every Monday. So that's been my experience with Platform. If you want to know more, please look me up.
Awesome. Again, that was Jeff Downing. He's a realtor with Keller Williams in Iowa. I'm going to skip ahead kind of towards the end here. I mean, as you can see, I'm skipping through tons of case study videos here I could be showing you. This is Micah. He's in Hawaii. So it's even working in Hawaii where he added over 100K to his GCI, way over in Hawaii. So it works in all sorts of cities, you know, big cities, small towns, everything in between. So here's a video of Justin Stewart. We more than doubled Justin's business. Last year, he actually had a month where he made over $40,000 in 1 month in GCI just from his platform leads. This is Rodney in Wichita, Kansas. This is Amy, who is a realtor in Pensacola, Florida. This is one video that I do want to show you. This is Brandon. He's the one in the Denver area, kind of the Denver suburbs. He'll do 40 transactions this year just from platform leads. So in addition to all the business he was already doing before he ever hired Platform, in addition to all that, Platform added 40 extra closings to Brandon's business. So in this video, he'll actually show you his office and show you his whiteboard with his pipeline written out on the whiteboard, all those leads coming from Platform. And so I say, like, the whiteboard doesn't lie, right? I can sit here and show you PowerPoint slides and talk about how cool Platform is and talk about leads and everything, but we actually sent a camera crew to film this. And so you see his actual office, his whiteboard with all the upcoming deals he has. It's because of Platform. Platform added an extra 40 transactions to his business. So check this out.
First introduced the whole online lead platform system, I was skeptical. Now, a year later, we're closing 40 deals in 2016. This is all due to the online marketing platform. For example, we have our buyers meet us in this building, which gives us instant credibility. So when you meet somebody on the internet, you never know if they're real or not. So when you come to a building like this, people come in here, they want to work with you, they realize you're real, and then you sign them up as a client. Come with me to the office. For example, we are closing 11 deals in June alone, totaling over $4.5 million. That is an incredible number, and about half of that came directly from the platform system. Now over here is the stuff you can't fake. This is our pipeline. This is ready buyers who've been pre-approved. They want to go searching, they want to go shopping, and they want to buy a home. 50% of these guys are all coming from our platform system, and it's proven the high-hanging fruit mentality, the system, the platform leads, it really does work, and it's real.
I mean, you heard him say it. Like, the whiteboard doesn't lie. Like, it works, right? Those are all the deals he has coming up. It's from Platform. Platform added 40 deals to his business. So you can see I'm flying through a bunch of these extra case studies I could be showing you. This is the very last one that I'm going to show you. This is a video of Debbie Kaler, who is a realtor in a small town in Minnesota. You can actually see this is the main street of her town. It's a small town in central Minnesota. And her story was actually so amazing that we sent a full-blown documentary film crew to make a documentary about her story, because it's so powerful, like the before and after results that we got for Debbie when she started using the platform system, that if I just told this to you, you wouldn't believe me. It sounds too good to be true. She was basically poor, broke. The first listing, let me just give you an idea of this. The first listing that we helped Debbie market with like a social media ad was actually her own house she had to sell because she was so behind on her mortgage payments. She couldn't afford to live there anymore. And it was at the point where the bank was about to take her house. So her business was so slow, she couldn't even afford to like stay current on her own mortgage payments, which obviously is really bad PR if you're a realtor and you lose your own house, right? So she had to sell that house just to avoid going through a foreclosure on it. That's how bad her business was. So the last bit of money she had, she signed up with Platform, hired us to do her marketing. She basically was at the point where she's like, well, I have nothing to lose at this point. You know, like I might as well spend this money on something that might generate business, you know, and it worked very, very quickly. Debbie is now actually like the top producing real estate agent in her entire like market association. So she went from being broke to being the top producing agent in her market association. And I think she recently like won an award for her brokerage for the entire state of Minnesota for production. So she was like the top agent statewide for her brokerage for production. And she's in a town where a lot of the houses are $150,000. And so she's getting so many leads and closing so many people, even in a small town like that. And so, I mean, it literally is like a classic American rags to riches story where she went from not having any money to now being like the top producer in her market. She bought a brand new Jeep. She bought a brand new lake home. I mean, like life is good now. So it was such an awesome story. We had to send a documentary film crew out just to like have Debbie tell her story in her own words. So here's just a segment from that documentary of Debbie talking about the difference that platform made for her. So if this resonates with you, if you want us to set up all of your marketing, your ads for you, just like we did for Debbie, and you want to get set up on a trial month, check out www.platformmarketmap.com.
So I love this car. I've always wanted a Jeep Rubicon, always. Never thought I'd be able to get one, especially that I could just write out a check for, actually. But I was in platform for about 6 months when my other car actually blew up, and I just kind of thought, what am I doing? I can afford what I want. So drove onto the lot with that wreck and drove off with this Rubicon with only 6 miles on it, which was a fantastic day.
And so I want you to meet Debbie Kaler. The platform strategy literally rescued her career. After the housing market crashed, she was struggling to make a living. Now she's driving a brand new car, bought a new lake home, and business is better than ever. Her story is just incredible. So I'll let her share the details. This is the power of the platform strategy.
Hi, I'm Debbie Kaler. I'm a realtor in a very small town in west central Minnesota. Population just a little over 2,000. So it's a tough market. We have a lot of agents around here. In fact, I would say we are saturated because everybody, for some reason, thinks that real estate is the fast, easy money, easiest thing you can get into. So I got into real estate in 1990 and always did pretty well, probably in the top 10, 15. And then the market crashed. And being a single person, that was tough. I ended up losing my house, my car, pawned all my jewelry. I literally had nothing left other than the clothes on my back.
So, as I said, Debbie's story is one of the coolest platform stories I've ever heard. After 20 years in the business, things were so slow, she was about to quit real estate entirely and find a new career. She was applying for jobs around the country, just trying to find something to pay the bills. And then she discovered platform.
So thinking this is it, I have to get out of real estate permanently, even though I loved it. They found out my story and they said, you know, we have this young guy that does marketing for us, you should give him a try. So I was desperate and I decided, all right, I'm going to meet him. It turns out his name is Tim Schermack. And he came over and talked to me and started telling me about platform, and I thought this is entirely too good to be true. There's no way anything is that good that's going to take me from about being homeless, literally homeless, to actually being able to stay in this business and make it. But humor me, I'll listen to him. So I meet him. He gave me the good sales pitch. Out of frustration, I hired him. And only because that day in the mail, the very last check had come from my retirement account. Very last check. And I knew it wasn't going to carry me through anyway, so what's the big deal? I might as well gamble. I threw it at him and said, all right, big talker, you think you can do this? Do it. I bet it was 3 weeks later, leads started to come in like crazy, and they started rolling in. I'm not kidding. And pretty soon I didn't have time for that other job I took. I was back into real estate. And here we are 2.5 years later. And I went from number 47 in my association up to number 2.
So Debbie went from having no money, literally losing her home, to being the number 2 agent in her entire association. I love this story. It's such an authentic example of the power of platform. The entire community noticed how quickly Debbie built her brand. Remember, building your business is as simple as building a list of people who trust you. Not just a database, but a list of people who trust you.
So one of the fun things with Platform was I had so many friends say, you know, when the market crashed, we thought you were done. That was it. We thought your business was going under, that you were done, no more, Debbie. And it's like you came back with a vengeance. All of a sudden we see videos all over the place and your signs are going up all over the place. And now you're really showing other people how it's done. I actually had a couple of my competing agencies come and try to recruit me with their company. So it's like, no, I turned them down. I mean, they're like, don't you want to work for, and then they'd say their name because they're bigger names in the area. I don't have a big name. You know, Lakes Area Realty, Debbie Kaler Real Estate. You know, I don't have the big banners, the big balloons, anything like that. And it's like, you know what? I don't need you. I'm doing fine on my own. They didn't like that very well, but I've pretty much buried most of them, which is a great feeling. And it's all because of Platform. I went from, like I said, bottom of the barrel, thinking that I was going under, to a place I never thought I would be. And it's because of the marketing. And that happened rather quickly. Actually, I would say within 3 months, people started to make comments about, wow, you came back strong. And by 6 months, it was, wow.
Amazing. So let's take a behind the scenes look at Debbie's office and get a feel for what her daily routine looks like when the leads are flowing in.
So I just want to give you a behind the scenes look at what Platform has done for me. Just in this last week, I've gotten 3 pages of leads. The ones that are crossed off are the ones that I've actually come in contact with, I've had phone conversations with, or even met them for coffee. I've got 2 listing appointments out of it so far, and for sure 1 buyer, probably 2, maybe even 3. So it's been great that way. It keeps me busy. It keeps me in contact with people. But I really want to show you personally what it's done for me. So my dream car was always a Jeep Rubicon. And after working with Platform for, I don't know, about 6 months, I was finally able to get one. Brand new, right off the lot. And it only had 6 miles on it. So it was glorious.
This is cool. She'll actually drive out and show you the lake home that she bought because her business grew so much that she was able to afford a lake home.
Working with Platform and really working the program, if you work it, it works. So if you've been in it and say that it doesn't work, it's only because you're not doing anything with it. I have proof, because what I'm going to show you is the property I was able to buy, and it may not be huge, but it is on a premier lake. It's on Green Lake, which used to be the 2nd purest lake in the world. It's completely renovated. I can't wait to show it to you. So, you know, we're going to go there right now and take a look.
You know, I'm reminded of that classic quote from Zig Ziglar. You can have whatever you want in life if you'll just help other people get what they want. This is the very essence of the Platform strategy. Just serve people. Before you ever ask for anything, provide value. Be the most helpful real estate agent in your market. As you'll see, it worked for Debbie, and it can work for you too.
I paid plenty for it just because it is where it is. But it is a Frank Lloyd Wright house, which does mean something, so I wanted to keep his design. And that's another reason I renovated what was there instead of tearing it down. It is a $500,000 house in a community where everything, the average price is $150,000. So it's an accomplishment. I never thought I would be able to do that. So we're almost at my humble cottage. So not only was I able to...
So here she's actually going to take you inside the house and show you that she bought a house. She, did a bunch of reno. She completely upgraded the kitchen, the flooring. She knocked out some walls. She really customized the house too. It has an epic lake view on one of the nicest lakes actually in all of Minnesota. And so, again, this is because of Platform. It's because Platform grew her business to the point where she could afford to make this investment in this lake home. So, it's just super cool that she's had this much results. I mean, I know it's a cliche. I know it's cheesy to say this. I totally get that. But, it literally changed her life.
Buy this new car, But Platform also allowed me to buy my new lake home. So this is the lake home that I bought, and I was able to renovate the whole thing. What we're standing in was actually just a screen porch. Going into the kitchen, I was able to put in all new countertops, new flooring, all new appliances, took out some walls, added some windows, opened up the living room. This was a couple tiny rooms before, but what I love about this place is this epic view of Green Lake, and thanks to Platform, I get to enjoy it every day.
Again, if this resonates with you, if you want us to manage all of your marketing and lead generation, set up all the ads for you, just like we did for Debbie. If you want us to do that for you, you can get set up on a trial month today. Just go to platformmarketmap.com. We'll get you set up on a trial month. We will do all your marketing for you in that trial month. You'll get results in that very first month. So again, if you want to get set up on that trial month, if you want results like Debbie got, check out www.platformmarketmap.com. All right, thanks guys. I want to honor your time. Thank you for hanging out this morning on the webinar. Check your email inbox. Mitch will follow up with an email with your free book, as well as he'll follow up with an email if you signed up at www.platformmarketmap.com. Mitch will shoot you an email to verify getting you set up on that trial month of platform marketing. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Please check your inbox. And one thing I'll have Mitch do, too, is send you an email with a checklist of kind of all the things Platform does for you. If you want more of the specifics, I guess, of what we handle for you in that marketing every single month. And so check your email inbox. Thanks, guys.